love this place!
Well, some late breaking news. Some of you have probably already heard of it, but we'll get right into it, and I'll give you my thoughts on what I think it means after we cover it. All right, so this is the Darrington Press blog page welcoming Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford to the team. There they are, right in the middle. Boy, they just kind of failed upwards, I guess, in some respects. Exciting news. Our DP team has grown, adding Chris Perkins as our creative director. Chris Perkins was always just like an editor. It's just amazing how he has kind of stumbled into these kinds of positions. Jeremy Crawford as a game director. So Chris as creative, and Jeremy, I guess, as the rules person. Who knows what's going to happen with Spencer Stark? I don't know if they've said anything yet. Anyway, they say they're thrilled to welcome Chris and Jeremy. They have expertise in game design and storytelling, honed through decades of experience working on tabletop games such as D&D, Star Wars, Warhammer, and Blue Rose, the romance RPG. Terrible game. We're enormous fans of their work and are honored to welcome them into our team. And it says here they'll be developing novel game concepts, as well as expanding upon the games that they've released so far. Here's some words from our new team members, and it's what you'd expect. Storytelling's always been at the heart of everything I do, and joining Darrington feels a bit like coming home. Oh boy. That's what Chris Perkins said. I've loved being part of the extended CR family as a regular guest over the years, and I'm beyond excited to help create new worlds full of adventure. I've always believed that great games invite everyone to the table, and that's exactly what excites me about joining Darrington Press, said Crawford. Great games. What are those? Are there any over there? I'm not quite sure. Now, in addition to that news, there's another little bit of news, and boy, it's kind of sad. He seems to always get upstaged just a little bit, but here is a tweet from Todd Kendrick. You'll recognize him as the person who always does those interviews, the right guy. And he is telling everybody that, oh no, I've been laid off from D&D. Thank you to Chris Perkins, Jeremy Crawford, and the entire D&D team for being some of the kindest, most talented, press X to doubt there, talented, not sure about that, and passionate people I've ever known. Well, they're passionate about pushing through a message in their games, that's for sure. This was my dream job. The tabletop community has given me everything. I'm still not sure what he actually did other than the interview show. Can anyone tell me what this guy really did? I don't think he was creative at all. Anyway, I'm sad that he lost his job. But boy, just proof there is nothing left at Wizards of the Coast. Mackenzie de Armas. I still chuckle saying it, but she is one of the lead designers. Jason Tondro, I guess, is probably the only one with a thimbleful, and I do mean a thimbleful of talent left there. I guess their loss is Darrington's, gain, I guess. I'm still not sure what Crawford and Perkins are going to do at Darrington. They just released Daggerheart, and it is a terrible game. I kind of looked at it on a live stream. I may do a video on it. It's purportedly a rules light system, but has layers of complexity that are just kind of puzzling to some extent. And it really doesn't know what it wants to be. It attributes a lot of other games and movies and books. I mean, like 2 pages worth, which is really odd. And it doesn't really do anything very well because it kind of tries to put a little bit of all these different types of games into the system. It's just kind of a mess, really. So they're stuck with it, though, Crawford and Perkins. Now, they can maybe wait out a year or two and say, hey, we're going to do a new edition and kind of clean up Spencer Stark's mess. But that's still 2 years. I'm sure Critical Role has enough money they can afford to kind of pay those guys to sit around and dream up a couple of settings and adventures, for the current edition of Daggerheart. If you notice, Candela Obscura, nobody talks about that game at all. It is gone. And I gotta believe that this was probably just a hire to make sure the same thing doesn't happen with Daggerheart, because you have these guys, Perkins and Crawford. They are names, for lack of a better word, not really talented, but they are names. And people somehow think they're talented. So that'll sort of keep them in the public, the gaming consciousness, as it were, as they produce a bunch of slop and drivel for a terrible game. But I'm sure the critters will love it, even if they probably don't play it very much. But they will extol its virtues, I'm sure. As to what happens with poor old Todd Kendrick, who knows? I also think it's funny, too, how, like in the past, somebody like Monty Cook would leave Wizards of the Coast. He would start his own company. And, I don't like Monty very much, but, he certainly did have some talent. Like I know Rich Baker kind of started, producing 5e content with a couple other folks. A lot of these guys strike out on their own after they're inevitably let go from Wizards or back in the day TSR. And the ones with real talent kind of do end up kind of being their own boss, sort of, or at least kind of collaborating with other people. They don't end up as just kind of employees at a company that's really a huge step below even Wizards of the Coast creatively. It's kind of sad to say that, but we do have 2 books to go on now, and Candela Obscura and Daggerheart are awful games, and yes, they are worse than D&D 2024, and that's hard to admit. So they are accepting jobs from a lesser company and are just probably happy to be getting a steady paycheck. These guys don't have the talent to start their own studio or company. I think that was even brought up when they, when they were let go from Wizards of the Coast a couple months back. And no, it's just not going to happen. They don't have the chops for it, as they say. So there you go. So pour one out for old Todd Kendrick, Mr. Right. And I guess you got to hand it to Perkins and Crawford. They have kind of bamboozled a whole bunch of people into believing that they are really talented and responsible for, I guess, 5e success, especially during COVID. They were just hung around and were in the right place at the right time, when a lot of the people that actually did work on 5e, either were shuttled off to other areas of the company, like Mike Merles at the time, or, just gone. And they, of course, they won't even admit that they hired a RPG pundit to work on 5e, so he's been given the damnatio treatment. But these guys, they just keep failing upwards, do they not? So there you go. Okay, a little bit of breaking news. You guys, let me know, as always, what you think in the comments below, and we will talk again soon, I promise. Take care. Peace.
Right. We want the